This episode is sponsored by NordVPN. In the 90s, Leslie Chang was a shining star in Hong Kong. Remarkably charming and talented in both singing and acting. From China to South Korea, from Japan to Malaysia, he was obsessed over by millions of fans in ways comparable, if not exceeding K-pop idols of today. But perhaps even more importantly, he was a queer icon. From his androgynous stage fashion to publicly announcing his homosexual relationship, and, of course, his LGBT film characters, much of his identity was established in defiance to the then still conservative Hong Kong entertainment industry. In his words, "Your love belongs to you alone. As long as you are happy and harm no one, do not be bothered by idle chatter." Leslie Chang wanted to be himself, so he was, and asked the world to accept him. While tabloids and gossip were rampant, people stood by him. And in the process, people also learned to stand by the entire LGBT community. Today, I want to take a look at Leslie's short but brilliant film career. Specifically, I want to see how LGBT representation changed in Hong Kong cinema as his acting career took off. From Farewell My Concubine to Happy Together, his achievements stand tall to this very day. This is my tribute to the legendary Leslie Chang. Leading up to the 90s, Leslie Chang proved himself to be both box office gold and art house darling. Safe to assume by 1990, he would have at least some leverage over the kinds of role he'd play. Which is puzzling because his first LGBT role is not good. In this 1992 comedy classic, a family of three sons finds themselves struggling with their love life. Leslie plays the second brother, I think he's supposed to be very effeminate, but then there are moments when he straight up thinks he's a woman. And I don't mean transgender, he legit thinks he's a biological woman. Either way, the underlying message is that he's a man, and it's funny because he thinks he's a woman. That's the punchline. The worst part is his ending. He hooks up with a very masculine woman, and for whatever reason, they decide to shock themselves with electricity so they can shock the gayness out of them. And it works. They walk out of the room looking like an incel's idea of a couple, complete with spousal abuse. I love this movie, but it did not age well. That is the state of LGBT representation in early 90s Hong Kong. At best, a funny mental illness, at worst, R-rated taboo degeneracy. A year later, Leslie starred in The Eagle Shooting Heroes, and the gay jokes are not much better. Needless to say, like most places in the 90s, Hong Kong wasn't exactly kind to LGBT people. So you can imagine the kind of effect it had when Farewell My Concubine was released. Based on a book by Hong Kong writer Lillian Lee, this film tells the story of Tie Yi, an abandoned child adopted by an opera company. Trained from his childhood to play female roles, the cruel training twisted Tie Yi's mind. Here, Tie Yi is taught to sing the line, "I am by nature a girl, not a boy." Yet he always instinctively says,
我本是男儿郎，我
To me, Dia Yi says the line wrong not because he's a boy, as none of the other boys have this problem. Rather, it is because he's in denial. He's scared. The world demands his sexuality just so he can put on a good show. It forces Dia Yi to come out of the closet at a young age. Yet, the moment he steps out, the world abuses him, exploits him, sends him to be a plaything for the rich and powerful, and then detests him and calls him a symbol of twisted morals. To him, there is only one place where his sexuality is safe, on the opera stage. And so, Dia Yi lives in the operas, even when he's not on stage.
就让我跟你好好唱一辈子戏，不行吗？
这不小半辈子都唱过来了。
不行，说的是一辈子，差1年、1个月、1天、1个时辰，都不算一辈子。
And through Leslie's eyes, you can see how much he wishes to stay on stage forever. The film cleverly ties homosexuality to traditional Chinese art, making an, at the time, unfamiliar topic much more approachable to a Chinese audience, allowing the audience to feel the loss, pain, and persecution LGBT people have been feeling. But its contribution to inclusivity is perhaps even more direct than that. The casting of Leslie Chang in the role creates this feeling that we aren't looking at a fictional character. We are facing the real struggle of Leslie Chang. Leslie was sympathetic, so his characters and by extension LGBT people were sympathetic. As the film's director said, without Leslie Chang, there is no Farewell, My Concubine. With the film's international successes, Leslie Chang became a megastar. More and more people fell in love with him, and the LGBT discourse began to shift. Unfortunately, despite being a classic actor, a lot of Leslie's films are hard to find. Days of Being Wild is only available on Netflix Japan, for example. Not a problem if you use today's sponsor, NordVPN. Simply switch your virtual location to Japan, and there you go. Content unlocked, fast, convenient, and secure. With over 5,300 servers, accessing geo-restricted contents is just one click away. A simple account supports up to 6 devices. You can easily go from your desktop to your phone and keep watching without interruptions. To celebrate NordVPN's 10th birthday, go to nordvpn.com/accentercinema to get access to the 2-year plan with an exclusive deal, plus 1 month free, and a bonus gift. If you are not satisfied, it's risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. So, explore the world of cinema to your heart's content. Check out NordVPN today. Following the success of Farewell, a new wave of LGBT indie films emerged almost immediately. Oh My Free Guys is the first Hong Kong queer film, followed by films such as A Queer Story and Hold You Tight. Leslie himself starred in some of these films too. In He's a Woman, She's a Man, Leslie plays a music producer who gradually falls in love with his newly signed-on talent. Unbeknown to him, his singer is actually a woman disguised as a man. It's like Mulan if Li Shang were a bisexual legend. These films, often made by LGBT filmmakers, aimed to humanize their LGBT characters rather than make fun of them, which is a huge step up. Of course, if you want to talk about 90s Hong Kong LGBT films, there is one movie that stands above all else. Happy Together is a romantic drama about 2 gay lovers, with Tony Leung playing the man who can't help but love, and Leslie Chang playing the boy who has commitment issues. These 2 find themselves lost in Argentina, unable to return to Hong Kong. They become drifters, and the love also drifts around. Unlike your usual movies about gay relationships, this film does not focus on the LGBT discrimination. Instead, it is essentially a regular romantic drama, and it just so happens to feature two gay lovers. It's a bold move, but maybe a good one. I have seen black Americans roll their eyes when yet another slavery film is made. It is the same thing for LGBT people. We don't need your sympathy, we need empathy. And for that, LGBT films have to treat their characters not as victims, but humans. And humans they are. Leslie Chang's character is a complex one. He can be very abusive at times.
係咪人嚟㗎？你問下你自己，病到咁叫起身煮飯俾你食。
Yet, he undeniably brings a lot of joy to those who love him. This complexity of neither good nor bad makes the character feel real. In a performance to remember, in this scene, Leslie's character mourns the loss of his love, and you can tell from his gut-wrenching reaction, he really was in love. He just couldn't handle a relationship. Like Farewell, Happy Together went on to be a critical success, and remains one of the best LGBT films of all time. It gave us a glimpse into a possible future, when discrimination is no more. Queer folks are free to exist like everyone else. Unfortunately, the reality was not this kind. As this BBC article recalls, at the 1998 Hong Kong Film Awards, Happy Together was mocked by comedians who described it as a film that would make the audience vomit. That was in reference to his gay sex scene, which is no more explicit than your average sex scene. Still, all of this is just some growing pain. As filmmakers continue to normalize LGBT identities, the future has to be bright. Right? Sadly, Happy Together would be Leslie Chang's final major career performance in film. Leslie passed away on April 1st, 2003 from suicide. He had been suffering from clinical depression. Tens of thousands of fans attended his memorial service. For months, all entertainment news focused on Leslie's life and death. Years, even decades later, people continue to gather to remember this fallen star. In a way, Leslie's passing immortalized his image. That charming, androgynous man singing and dancing on stage while wearing a pair of red heels. With death comes reminiscence. Suddenly, every flamboyant thing he did seems so normal now. Regardless, Hong Kong LGBT cinema would have to move forward without the biggest icon. And move forward it did. From mainstream comedy like Enter the Phoenix to edgy underground art house like 30 Years of Adonis, LGBT films continue to thrive in Hong Kong. Compare Enter the Phoenix to Oswald Enswell, and you can see a drastic shift in queer humor. Punching down at the already disenfranchised is no longer funny. In this film, the vast majority of the humor comes from a few straight people's overreaction.
Holy shit, he's gay!
After a joke, the film cuts back to the gay character, showing that he is, for lack of a better word, the straight man of the situation. Safe to say, the industry and also the general public now has much more empathy towards queer people. In my opinion, two of the most defining LGBT films post-2000s would be Anne Hui's All About Love and Ray Young's Twilight's Kiss.
我呢排攣下咧，好悶啊！我想食返下。
All About Love tells the romantic story of two bisexual women. As with most Anne Hui movies, this film takes a progressive and intellectual view on a lot of LGBT topics. Adoption,
一個 BB 三個阿媽，會唔會多咗啲咧嚇？
gay marriage and immigration,
搞掂咗居留權之後咧，好快同我離婚啦嚇！
gender expression,
就係咧，男人點解着男裝？而我哋呢啲中性打扮嘅咧，咁型仔嗰啲，
大波嗰啲啊嘛，
係啊，就俾人話唔男女喎。
and dissonance within LGBT discourse.
都唔知咩人嚟嘅，又唔攣又唔直又唔三唔四。
LGBT people are just that, people. People have diverse views, opinions, and biases, and the film is not afraid to show that. Compared to Farewell, the depiction of discrimination is much more specific, thus offering a better insight into the LGBT struggle. Toilet Kiss, however, is my preferred film.
成日嚟呢度㗎？係，我咁啱行過呢頭啫。
The film depicts the classic gay romance between two old men. Both men have their families. One, in fact, has a wife. Written and directed by Ray Young, who himself is a gay man. Because of this, the LGBT experience in this film feels much more personal and nuanced.
我個仔有咗女啊，屋企冇人。冇啩？
上堂啊，同志遊行嗰陣時就俾爛鬼電視台影到我啦，啲街坊一見到就個個喺度唱我啦。
It's one thing to see LGBT stories in the third person, or to approach the discussion with objectivity and reason. It's a whole other thing to experience the fear and paranoia and the social claustrophobia that gay people feel on a daily basis. Like Farewell and Happy Together, Toilet Kiss was a massive critical success. Although the film is still too new for its impact to be appreciated, it's good to see Hong Kong cinema continues to be on top of Leslie Chang's accomplishments. Today, discussions of LGBT topics in Hong Kong is fairly normalized. Even in mainland China, LGBT discourse is much more open than one would expect. Of course, in both regions, policies are lagging behind, so the fight for LGBT rights is far from over. To me, this level of acceptance is, in no small part, thanks to Leslie Chang. He injected his own persona into his characters, offered us a glimpse into the life of a bisexual man, and helped us realize that there is no difference between us. This is why representation matters. I have seen people say that they don't need representation to feel good about themselves. I think that's missing the point. Sure, a good representation can be inspiring. It can motivate people to launch an entire genre of films. But a good representation is also for people outside the community. It can educate others on our views, open up conversations, and bring people together. Isn't that what we all want? The same thing as Leslie Chang? Just be who we are?